Welcome to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, where we take a deep dive into the Star Wars universe such as characters, creatures, stories, and so much more. Hosted by Ben of Temeria and Kadojo.
Welcome back, Adepts Acolytes, to another episode of Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria, and always with me is my good friend, Kadojo.
Hello there.
And today we are here bringing you another organization in the High Republic era, but you might have realized, we went over one the last couple of weeks. Well, yes, that was the Path of the Open Hand, which eventually evolves into what we're going to start discussing today, which is the Nihil, which are pretty significant for the High Republic series.
Oh yeah, there you could say it's the core around the High Republic series.
Yeah,
The
just
center
a bit.
of the storm, as it were. The eye of the storm.
Oh, knee slappers. Once you know, you know. But you will know because we are here to dive you all in that info today. So this is part 1 of 3 because there's a lot of info for the Nihil. Specifically because there's like over 20, 30 novels or books for the High Republic era. So each book added more.
Well, it depends on your definition of book. Are you including comic books?
I'm
short
including
stories?
everything. Yeah, I'm including everything. There's a lot.
Yeah, I'd say I think there's more than 30. There's more than 30.
It was a 6-year series that they did from 2020 all the way to last year, 2026. Actually, this year's 2026.
26, yeah.
I'm thinking it's already 2027.
Old age is starting to set in.
Shush. But today specifically, we are diving into their philosophy, which you might get a little, it's like, oh, what do you guys talk about this in the Path of Open Hand? Yes. But eventually it evolves into something more there's much more violent.
See, there's the Path of the Open Hand. Then they transformed into the Path of the Closed Fist, and then into the Nihil.
Correct.
And it's a very strange, evil evolution through it all.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon. But, alright, so getting right into it. So the Nihil were a criminal organization of an anarchist marauders. Based on the Outer Rim territories, the Nihil operated with a code of taking what they wanted and killing those that stood in their way. They viewed themselves as sort of a counterculture that opposed the expanding Galactic Republic, whom they believed was encroaching the Nihil territory as well as robbing people of their freedom.
Compared to robbing people of their lives.
Yeah, right. They saw themselves as riders of a storm, quote unquote, and to that end used weather-related technology in their structures and ranks, as well as a
terminology.
Terminology. Sorry, did I say technology?
Yes.
No, terminology. Sorry. In their structure and ranks, as well as a symbol of 3 lightning bolts. Indeed, their name alone was like a plague or hunting creature spreading across the Outer Rim in a way that they could not fight or escaped.
Yeah. So they have, let's see, you have the leader, which is the eye of the storm.
We'll get into that. We have the structures and all.
All right.
So, above all, the Nihil sought to take whatever they wanted and destroy whatever they could not own. The thousands of pirates were united under their desire to take, kill, and eat. As such, they perform various criminal actions, including acting as thieves, raiders, kidnappers, and murderers, and worked anywhere they could. The Nihil undertook operations in real space and on planets, working anywhere from within wilderness to in cities.
Yeah.
So,
by the way,
literally
hell of
they'll do
acting.
whatever.
Hell of acting if they're only acting as thieves, raiders, kidnappers, and murderers.
Right.
Very committed to the bit.
So, additionally, the people of the Outer Rim, it seemed that the Marauders moved like they were in spirits and killed like they were demons, with these victims being left to question whether the Nihil were monsters or a group of merely acted with the savagery one would expect from such a beast. Hiding their faces behind masks, the Nihil actively wanted the galaxy to see them as monsters and relish the destruction, including the murders they left in their wake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then this was when the Republic was starting to expand into the Outer Rim. They really haven't gone out into the Outer Rim at this point. They were just starting to send colonization ships out.
Correct.
And that's why they built Starlight Beacon out there to
Eventually,
help
yep.
with to help with communications and help with people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this is the very beginning of Outer Rim.
Yeah. So the rhetoric and imagery outlived the organization's prominence. Despite their loner attitude and kept towards the wider galaxy, the group had extensive contacts, including prominent Republic officials such as Chief Aide Ginny Wataro throughout the galaxy, and some Nihil participated in mainstream activities, such as viewing operas in Pan Ata's case. And Nihil pirates also preferred it if their raids came fast and frequent, believing they should never slow down.
They were hoping for a quickie.
All right.
Yeah, the Nihil, in order to do their hit and runs quickly, they needed informants.
Right.
And they paid well. So there were a lot of people willing to accept coin to give out information.
Well, credits, but yes.
Coin credits. Coin credits.
Right.
It's a turn of phrase.
It is a turn of phrase. So now getting into their structure. So we do have the Tempest divisions. So the Nihil group was divided into 3 Tempests, each led by a Tempest runner who wielded sole control over the unit. Below the runners were the Storms, Clouds, and finally the Strikes. Since the inception of the Nihil, promotion was driven in part of the recruitment and reputation. Strikes brought new blood into the Nihil, and where they had enough recruits under them, they became Clouds. Clouds should become Storms if they gain strong enough reputation.
Yeah, so this is very much a self-sustaining thing. It's like, well, we're bringing these new recruits, we become a Cloud. And those new recruits bring in more people, they become their own Clouds, and the initial person rises up. It's sort of like a weird pyramid scheme almost.
Yeah, essentially.
If you think about it.
So promotion also depended on success. If it was not easy to rise through the ranks, a Nihil also needed to do everything possible to ensure their peers did not succeed. The rank of a Storm was showcased via 3 jagged white stripes added somewhere on their clothing, while Clouds had 2 and Strikes had 1.
Yeah. Very simple. Very simple recognition pattern there, at least.
Oh, yeah. So despite being an organization in constant need of new blood, each Tempest had around 1,000 members by the time of the Great Hyperspace Disaster. With each of the 3 Tempests entrusted to a single Tempest runner, that individual had sole authority over their Tempest actions and also had sole responsibility for it. If a Tempest runner died or walked away from the Nihil, a Storm they chose was to take their place.
Yeah. Now, the Tempests never wanted to leave or walk away. But they were more than likely killed at some point or another, either by enemies or by each other.
Yep, that's also there. When you'll find out, there's a lot of infighting. So within the Great Hall of the Nihil, the 3 runners had a raised platform from which they could lead celebrations and rallies. The styles and cultures of the Tempest were decided upon the runners, as most members of the Tempest reflected their leaders' choices. For an example, Lorna D led a Tempest of subtle, introverted Nihil who wore minimalist clothing, but were generally the cruelest among the pirates. Until their intended result was achieved, a member of the D's Tempest would keep their intentions to themselves. Uh,
Yeah.
mean, Meanwhile, most of Pan Etta's Tempest focus upon particular tastes, much like the finery dressed runner. Etta specifically enjoyed things like operas of the planets of Cato Nemoria in the colonies. From the start of this division, Etta was chosen at his first strikes, who had then chosen their subordinates from the time came, and the pattern continued as it expanded. Ultimately, the Nihil in Etta's Tempest was often precise and made plans.
So you got Lorna D, who's very ruthless and secretive within her Tempest. And then you got Panesta, who's very organized, very precise in how they want to do things.
Yep. And then the opposite came with Cassive Maliko.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was fitted with Nihil no matter their rank, who were impulsive and chaotic. Member of Cassiv's division seemed to have always pursued a new major score to brag about, but their habit of taking drugs like Smash often left them so intoxicated that it was hard for them to share their stories. Deploying their Tempest on the raids all across the Outer Rim, D, Maliko, and Eta ran their operations rather independently despite somewhat banding their crews together.
Yeah, sometimes they would get together for single raid, but then immediately separate after it was over.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's there's not really unity in the Nihil per se.
Yeah, it's very much everyone for themselves.
Now getting into the leadership, so the Eye of the Nihil. So alongside the Tempest Runners was the Nihil, a position created after uh, Asgar Ro gave the Nihil across their paths through hyperspace. Seen as a figure who planned their future and guided them, the Eye was considered the symbolic head of the organization. However, the position originally did not give orders and could only advise if the votes did not go their way, as noticed by the next man to hold the title, Asgar's son, Marcion Ro. The Eye could see the potential of the Nihil, yet could not act on the potential, nor give or potential, nor give orders to the Tempest Runners.
Don't you love it? You have a plan, it's ready to go, and no one wants to follow it. Kind of like a WoW raid. Okay,
yes, pretty much.
it's very much that Leroy Jenkins video. It's like, okay, here's the plan, blah blah blah. Then you got that one guy, Leroy Jenkins. Oh, great.
Great. So during celebrations in the Great Hall, the Eye resided on the lower platform, lower by 1 meters. That was one used by the Tempest Runners. Additionally, Ro despised the pageants runners D, Panetta, and Cassive Maliko would put on their Great Hall, seeing that they were pitted the cloud strikes and storms against one another. Ultimately, to Ro, the divided Nihil were in chaos. Which, I mean, they were.
Oh yeah, which they always were. And I don't know why Ro cared about this, because in the end, he really didn't care. He didn't care about the
God,
chaos. No. So I wonder why he cared now.
So while all the Nihil used the paths and worked under the same banner, every pyre was otherwise out for themselves, which each of the Tempests being willing to undercut the others, and every member willing to kill another at the slightest incitement or chance to profit. Ro believed himself the only one who could see the paths, could get them anywhere they needed, together. Nonetheless, the votes of the Tempest Runners, a long-standing rule, made it so that the Eye had to double vote on matters involving the paths, meaning any tie went in the Eye's direction.
Yeah, so if it's 2-2, well, the path gets his way. And that was more often than not, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So Ro enjoyed the aspect of his position, believing it was the only right that the custodian of the paths would have the most say in how the Nihil used them, while a Tempest Runner could approve raids on their own crews without needing to consult the other Nihil leaders. Jobs that involved the paths required a full vote, only for the Eye to almost always end up deciding the factor. The two runners who did not have interest in the job often voted against it, leaving the Nihil's double vote to either side with the proposer or the two other runners.
Yeah, that's no way to run a democracy. You got one guy just doing it out of spite, just to screw over the other runners.
Absolutely. And then in 232 BBY, after the Battle of Kerr, the role of the Eye of the Nihil finally changed when Marsha and Ro united all the Nihil under the rule with his promise of expanding their operations through the galaxy and defending their way of life from the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order.
Okay, Battle of Kerr. I think this was towards the middle of Phase 1.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think this was to wipe out one Tempest runner. Or Tempest altogether.
Yeah, I think you're right. As such, Ro finally had the ability to give orders, including the Tempest Runners. With Ro as the Lord of the Nihil, members of the group pledged themselves to serve the Eye with their whole lives, and he marshaled his forces to strike against the Republic and the Jedi.
By the way, if you click on the Lord, picture of Vader shows up. Lord of the
Well,
Nihil.
yeah, but Lord's always assumed with Sith, so. So Ro also secretly considered abolishing the Tempest Runner position entirely, while he would give orders to the current runners, smaller but still leading positions. If he went through with the idea, it would have left him with the sole ruler of the Nihil. As Ro took more control, there were some Nihil who came to believe the Nihil had changed for the worse, thinking that the group was less chaotic and was awarding them less chances to take whatever they wanted.
You know something's messed up when a band of thieves whose whole purpose is chaos says, "Hey, this organization's going down the drain."
Right. There's not enough chaos. However, at the same time, there were Nihil who fully embraced Ro as leader, singing the praises of the Eye and hoping to win his favor. To these Nihil, the organization still allowed them to destroy and steal whatever they please. Indeed, in time, he came to fully cement control over the Marauders, giving him enough power for him to say to the Republic that the galaxy was his for the taking.
Kind of egotistical with that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, moving into the Great Hall, so the Nihil operated from the location they called No Space, which contained a boarded
Board, boarded door seal platform.
Okay.
Boarded, yeah.
Boarded Duracell platform dubbed the Great Hall of the Nihil. The group gathered there to celebrate and feast after raids. Although the hall had no walls or ceilings, there was only invisible vacuum shields keeping these gathered inside, secured under a dome of breathable oxygen. The raiders were able to look out into the darkness of real space, with the implication that leaving the group would bring an empty, cold death. Well, all right.
I wonder how strong that shield was.
Well, since they we're in there having a feast and not worrying about anything, probably pretty strong.
I just like to imagine someone with like sharp nails actually stab the sides. Like, uh-oh, pop.
Well, it's a vacuum
Out into
shield, so I'd
space.
imagine they were not actual it wasn't glass or anything. It was
Yeah.
like energy shield.
Yeah, but I still like to imagine someone accidentally pops the shield and they all go floating out into space.
Oh, a horrible death. Oh no. So as such, it was implied staying with the Nihil would continue to bring them life and light by which to survive. In effect, the Great Hall looked like it was drifted to the great nothingness of space, with glowing blue-white lights marking the edges of the platforms, and what could be described as towers of flame seamlessly pushed back the endless void to keep the Nihil inside safe, even though it was the shielding that did so. Okay, optical illusions, that's cool.
Yeah.
So while the Nihil were forbidden from bringing blasters into the hall, they would be allowed to bring bladed weapons. Only the Nihil who knew how much to reach the Great Hall, as only they knew the paths. For private meetings, the Tempest Runners and the Eye could travel to a small structure located at a far end of the Great Hall, guarded by 2 kill droids. The structure held docking mechanisms, the airlock, and a small complex of rooms designed to offer privacy.
I wonder if those kill droids were left over from Path of the Open Hand. Because they did employ kill droids during the Night of Sorrow.
Yeah, I'd imagine they would. Or they did. So, however, as Marchion came to realize, the Grey Hall was not a good position to defend the Nihil from, with the future Eye arguing with his father, who wrote off his concerns due to the belief that no one would be able to find New Space, about how vulnerable the base made them. During Marchion's reign, he sent out a Nihil to find new, more defensible bases, despite keeping the Grey Hall in operation. Later, he declared several sectors in the Outer Rim to belong to the Nihil and no one else, forming the Occlusion Zone.
Oh, we actually have a map for the Occlusion Zone. I have never seen one before.
Oh yeah, we do have a map. That must be new.
I have never seen one.
Well,
Wow,
I
they
mean,
took
with
a big chunk.
yeah, they took a huge chunk out of the Outer Rim, but also with like High Republic finally being done, people were probably able to easily map it out once with all the content out.
Yeah.
So it helps.
Yeah. Where were we going? Yeah, the only way they were able to form this Occlusion Zone was the Storm Wall, which was
With storm seeds and all that.
Yeah, which was very advanced for its time. It's like, wait a second, where did
Yeah.
this come from?
Right? And I was like, wait a minute, how did the Republic not have this tech during the Clone Wars?
Like, wait a second, this came from left field. Where did it come from? And where did it go? Did he tell me, Cotton Eye Joe?
Yeah, it blew up. That's how.
Oh no, Cotton Eye Roe.
Yeah, right. Puns. No, it kind of blew up towards the end of Phase 3 to where it was like unsalvageable, so they couldn't like, reverse engineer anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably smart. But anyway, now getting into the rule of 3. So after receiving access to the pass from the Roe family, they adopted the rule of 3 to divide the proceeds of the raids, with the Eye receiving shares from the raids that utilized the paths. Supposedly, the rule of 3 helped ensure each Nihil received anything they ever wanted, with it being promised that every Nihil who took part in the raid would receive the benefits of that attack. Okay.
You keep what you steal, essentially.
Yeah.
But there was a promise of a kick up, as it were, like a pyramid scheme.
Right. So the Tempest Runners openly proclaimed that all the Nihil all flew and died as one, leaving the rewards to be reaped together. Whenever the Nihil lost potential spoils, it was deemed as an insult to the whole group, even to the runners and the Eye, and a punishment was considered necessary. Shocker.
All right, you guys ship stay right there. Everyone else open fire.
Yeah, right. So when the group would participate in a raid, a third of the bounty would go to the Eye if the job used the paths, until Roe assumed control of the Nihil, and that was providing the paths was, in effect, the extent of the Eye's power. The rest of the money would go to the Nihil secret bank accounts, known as the Black Accounts. Whereas a low-ranking Nihil truly believed the organization helped them, most spoils would actually end up in the hands of the Tempest Runners, making them rich from the work of their pirates.
Like I said, a pyramid scheme.
Yep, pretty much. Well, not pretty much. It is. It is straight up a pyramid scheme. So, there you go, kids. Have fun with that.
Secret
they
bank
don't work.
accounts and all.
They're not legitimate, by the way. They're illegal. Don't do one. All right. With that, though, let's take a quick mid-break. Thank our awesome patrons, and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Adobe Firefly, the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video generation. Built for today's creative process, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, and the timelines? Woo, yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Learn more at adobe.com/firefly.
All right, welcome to the Middle Show. We're talking about everything with the podcast. It's nothing to do with the lore of Star Wars. Here, we want to thank all our amazing patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And if you too want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/holocronhistories, where you can get ad-free episodes or even join us once a month on the show itself. Leave us a ratings reviews on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on Apple with some words, or a nice Spotify comment read out that next time on the show, which we don't have any this week, but, that's all right. And then, yeah, I know. Aw, sad face. And then you can also find us on a few different Discord servers, the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my Discord server, the Band of Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show and all the other shows that I host, which are the Dragon Ball Lorecast, the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Gundam Lorecast, the Wizard World Lorecast, and the Witcher Lorecast. Oh, it's a lot. But it's all great fun. Dojo listens to Gundam.
and I do listen to the Final Fantasy one too.
Yay! Go listen to those. It's great. Right now we're doing a patron month for Final Fantasy because it's our 30-year anniversary for the Final Fantasy Lorecast.
Yay!
So we're celebrating the entire month with our patrons, going over different stuff. This week's episode that comes out Friday, we are going to be discussing Advent Children, which I need to go watch still. By the time you hear this, I've already watched it, but rewatched it.
I have that on DVD, I think.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But news-wise, the Ninth Jedi trailer got dropped, which comes out what, August? Is that August?
I can't remember. Hang on, let me look. August 5th.
August 5th. Oh, I was right. August. Holy crap, I was right for once. Woo!
The art looks great. I have to watch.
Oh, it looks so good.
3. I have to watch.
I haven't watched any of Visions.
Oh, you should. I think you can skip the second season because I swear it's done by the British.
Oh, okay, interesting. And then at the end of the month of August, we got Zero Company, which is gonna be awesome once we actually get our hands on that. And then October we get Galactic Racer, which is also going to be great because it's going to be Burnout, Star Wars, pod racing.
I never played Burnout.
You never played Burnout? Oh, it's so much fun.
No.
Burnout.
But I have a concern about that because by the looks of it, it looks like you can bump and crash. And it's like, wait, does that take you out of the race?
Yes.
Or
that was from Burnout. That was a Burnout.
Like
thing.
I said, never played Burnout.
The crash kill cam was a Burnout thing. It was Need for Speed also had it as well.
So you can be knocked out of the race then, like that.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
It makes the races more thrilling and more exhilarating. Get excited. Nobody knew what I just said. Go watch Dr. Stone. But other than that, we don't really have any news going around on Star Wars. That's pretty much it. So
I did see someone post on Facebook asking a question. Would you like to see Vincent D'Onofrio as Darth Malgus? Now he plays Kingpin in the Daredevil Marvel TV series.
Yeah, I saw that photo. I don't know who I would want to cast as Malgus personally.
He's got the physique.
He has the physique. That is true. And Malgus does most of the time, most of his life or his later life that we see him in game, he has a respirator, so it's all coming through that. So they could always alter his voice if they ever did something like that with SWTOR in live action or even animated. But again, I don't know.
Comment. Would you like to see him as Darth Malgus, guys? Would you?
Would you like or would you like to see live action or animated Old Republic content from
both
Lucasfilm?
Both.
Yes, both, obviously. But if you had to choose, which one would you choose? But let's get back into more of the Nihil. All right, so now we're actually going to go into their technology, which for a bunch of pirates is pretty advanced. So seamlessly at will like spirits. Gosh, Nihil ships at any location in the galaxy could appear from nothing at seamlessly any time, with no defenses available to stop them from when they appeared whenever they wanted. The power to appear from hyperspace and disappear into it at will was thanks to the navigational miracle known as the path engines, which, when attached to a starship's regular engines, allow the ship to travel through hyperspace in a manner unlike anyone else in the galaxy.
Now, these were slightly touched upon in Dr. Aphra's comic,
Mm-hmm.
where they
True.
show they're trying to go after these path engines because they were never replicated at all.
Correct.
Because they were
it was that
sabotaged.
hard. They were sabotaged and destroyed to where they couldn't reverse engineer things,
Yeah.
and they were like the paths themselves were very secretive, and essentially only select few people knew them.
Yeah, because there was a older woman, I can't remember her name. She was part of one of the hyperspace families.
Mari Centeca, which we'll about to talk about here in a minute.
Oh, okay.
So,
Go ahead.
so in fact, the way they traveled through hyperspace was thought to be impossible by the Republic. To the Jedi Master Avar Kriss, the paths appeared to be unnatural. She felt that, for a lack of a better term, hyperspace was sick during the Great Hyperspace Disaster caused by a Nihil path engine equipped craft. She had sensed that something has gone wrong, noting that a disaster should have never happened. These paths were treacherous and known to the Nihil alone, supplied by the Eye. And then all factors that counted, the paths were to be made at the Nihil the effective group they were. One of the things that they tied individual Nihil ships together into a common force. The engine itself was visible on a Nihil ship's hull, being visible as a green half-sphere that glowed. A custodian of the paths, the Eye supplied them with the rest of the Nihil, but also knew that the paths were not a limitless resource. While the Nihil also needed new members, having too many new Nihil would thin out their ranks too much.
I wonder at what point between the sort of end of phase 1, or phase 2 as it were, to the beginning of phase 1, which I know is out of order, did they pick up this technology?
Right, yeah, that's a good question.
Because I don't think it's ever explained where they actually picked it up. Other than they discovered these paths because of Mars and Tekka, but they never explained how they got the engines.
Right. So only those on the Tau of the Nine knew the unique source that the paths came from. The Rowe family had kidnapped the force-sensitive hyperspace prospector Mari Centeca. The single exhaustible resource of the new paths was her ability to map new hyperspace that Asger and Marchand Rowe relied on. Before taking full control of the Nihil, Tekka and Rowe's only true ally, yet he nonetheless openly considered killing her to forge a new path for himself. Which would have been dumb.
Some listeners were just saying, hey, if she's force sensitive, why wasn't she with the Jedi? Well, much like how Palpatine evaded the Jedi, their family was rich and just paid off officials to not have them show up on the force sensitivity test.
Pretty much. Yep. That is exactly how it went. So, yeah. So Rowe also knew that he needed to keep her existence a close secret, understanding that any Tempest runners would kill him if they knew how to access the path themselves. Instead, he would make it seem that if he were able to vanish, the paths would vanish with him, when in reality, any of the runners could have kept Tekka's medical capsule running. To Rowe, the paths were what made the Nihil special and powerful. By the way, she was extremely old, and the only way she was living still in this time was due to essentially life support.
And living in Bacta, essentially.
Yeah.
But so she was well over 100 years old. I want to say she was like 130, and she was human, by the way.
Yeah. Mari Centeca, let me see. Let me pull her up.
Born, let me get my calculator.
She was born in 352 BBY. So yeah, she's well over 120?
121.
121, all right. And she's human, so if you know someone in real life that has lived up to 121, let us know, which I know for a fact there has never been, so.
Couple of close ones.
Yeah, some close ones, but yeah. So there were 1,000 of Raider organizations in the Outer Rim, but the paths and the path engines allowed the Nihil teams to access hyperspace in ways like no other group in the galaxy. Through the paths, Nihil ships could leap into location otherwise protected by a gravity well, perform micro jumps, enter hyperspace from anywhere instead of relying on occluded access zones or elaborated calculations, and even appear in the same lane as another hyperspace-equipped craft.
Like the Great Hyperspace Disaster.
Yeah, that's how that blew up. That Star Cruiser blew up because a Nihil ship
There's an
crashed into
intersection
it
there.
in hyperspace.
There's an intersection there that no one knew about.
Mm-hmm. Now getting into their starships, so the Nihil Marauders utilized various types of starships, including battleships and warships. The fleet was divided into 3 classes: the large storm ships, another large class called cloud ships, and the smaller starfighter-like strike ships. Each of the Tempest Runners also had a corvette-sized flagship. Another type of large craft, known as the Spider Cluster, due to the spider-like appendages, were used in both the ground and space operations. No matter their classification, all Nihil ships were painted with the group's symbol, as it was a war paint, making it other than the Path engines and their shared brutalist appearance. The only thing showcasing that they served the same force was as no 2 ships were the same. Yeah, because they were all battered together.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care how it looks like. You have to have all the same branding and logo. 3 stripes.
It's a brand. Gotta mark it. So, to these not in the Nihil, the craft generally appeared ugly. Many Nihil ships were blocky ships, with spikes seamlessly placed with no pattern in mind, protruding out, lacking curves instead of being made of straight lines. Every Nihil ship, no matter its class, looked like a spiked fist with armoring, effectively making a fleet of ships that looked like they could crush enemies and then collect their pounded corpses.
Now, what's interesting, I think these designs of ships were pretty much inspired by Firefly. You remember that TV show?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course I remember Firefly.
And I can't, Ravengers, I think they were?
I believe so.
Cannibalists. Those kind of styles, I think, is what these are based off of.
Wouldn't be surprised. So indeed, to Chief Executive Officer Lawrence Gorello, the ships look as though they were purposely made for destruction, specifically as they were made to beat enemies to death. Marcion wrote that knew that each craft in the Nihil fleet reflected its owner's culture and taste, though he too knew each ship shared a brutalist aesthetic. Nihil ships also had a lack of overall symmetry and possessed many sharp edges in their design.
They're ugly but effective, essentially.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Rowe himself also commanded a very different-looking starship named the Gaze Electric, which you might know from our previous couple episodes, where he kept Mari Senteca, larger and more posing than even the Tempest Runner ships. It was flying a fortress with a shadow like the Ocean Predator, filled with empty corridors. The mobile palace was the only home Rowe has ever known, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, and I think he kept it empty on purpose because, like he said, he didn't trust anyone.
Oh God,
he had
no.
nothing but droid servants on there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then for the Nihil raid, typically most of the force was made up of smaller starships. This is designed for 1 or 2 pilots, while larger ships came into lesser numbers. While the Tempest Runner's flagship, the larger ship in the raid, could be placed in the center of the force, the Marauders also held their ability to shield their ships behind a storm cloud effect upon entering a star system with the blue-gray cover. Their ships remained hidden from sight and sensors, though their lights could be seen through the dense swirl of vapor.
Imagine seeing these lights out in the distance. Like, we should be able to see those. Why are we seeing those headlights? Oh, no.
Right. It also served to intimidate their foes and enable the Nihil to suddenly fire weapons. However, that had the chance to cause enough light to allow foes to see into the storm and know what ships were attacking. Nonetheless, the Nihil had the chance to fire quickly from cover before launching ships out once their cover was blown. And then Nihil ships, right? Nihil ships could also fire blasts that held ion cannon-like abilities, completely shutting down ships that were impacted by the blast. These blasts took as though they were lightning strikes and held a huge amount of energy. Although deflector shields could hold back the lightning-like blast for a time, the strikes would still deal major hits to the starship's shielding.
Now, ion cannons' sole purpose is to take down shielding and disable ships.
Mm-hmm.
So like it said, it would hold out for a time, probably about 2 minutes, and then just be disabled.
Pretty much. Yep.
And they modified those ions to make it look like lightning.
Oh, absolutely. And then now going into talking about the Marauders themselves. So the Nihil often recruited new members from people who felt disenfranchised and forgotten by the Republic. One of their members, Nan Hugh. Nan Hugh. Okay, Nan Hugh described the original ideology of the Nihil as one that began with a promise made to the isolated and less fortunate of the galaxy, offering such beings with the chance to have something for themselves while inflicting a blow to the more rich and powerful. Abduction was a popular tactic for Nihil recruitment drives, and individuals like Melise Shrike considered the practice a time-sworn tradition that concluded with beneficial results.
Yeah, it's
nothing says better than the kidnapping.
Nihil essentially scooping up the bottom of the barrel of the galaxy and folding it into them. Says, hey, you're at the bottom of the barrel. There's only one way to go. Up. Join us.
Right.
And you can take from the people at the top.
And then during attacks of the Marauders launch against the astronomical bodies that bordered the exclusion zone, the Nihil targeted members of the younger generations, capturing individuals and demonstrated reasonable resistance to the assault and separating them from their families. After being dragged back to parts of the space occupied by the Nihil, these prospective conscripts were thrown into fighting pits, leaving them with their spirits broken after a few weeks. Dear God.
Yeah, these are not nice pirates. These are not Pirates of the Caribbean pirates.
No. And the members of the Nihil, who were individuals of numerous species, wore heavy masks and helmets that often featured tubing and were equipped with various weapons and pieces of armor. The mask's purpose was both symbolic and practical. They gave the pirates an intimidating appearance while protecting their identities and themselves from the poisonous gases they frequently unleashed in the battle. Various types of weaponry were also used by the group. Many utilized blasters, while some also carried knives.
I forgot to mention this when we were talking about recruiting. There was a Gungan as part.
Oh my God,
of the
I forgot
Nihil.
about that. Yeah, I forgot about the Gungan recruit.
You should have listened to the audiobook version of it. It was hilarious. I'm like, Jar Jar?
Jar Jar question mark? In their pursuit of freedom, Nihil celebrations allowed any members to indulge in the various types of foodstuffs, drugs, and drinks, with banquet tables being fitted with such items, including potent alcohols and rich foods. Nihil masks could be used to cover up the individual's marauder's identity, with most members wearing one. Beyond being able to hide expressions, the mask could also amplify the distort the wearer's voice. Nonetheless, Martian Rose rule would later abolish the need to keep one's face hidden at all times, because he didn't care. Because they were also very at one point they were so powerful with the inclusion zone and anything that they didn't care for hiding themselves anymore.
Yeah.
Additions go on.
But I was going to say, but then again, it was only because of the storm wall that was allowed, though.
Correct.
If it wasn't for the storm wall, they would be cooked. But anyway.
Right. Additions like horns and brows would be added to the mask. Almost all masks were equipped with the filter equipment over the mouth and nose of the raider, helping them survive any of the various chemical attacks employed during raids. Clothing between different raiders were also often unique, sometimes including capes, armor made from animal hides, and more. Martian Rowe used a cape, by the way.
No capes.
Edma. Yeah, no capes. No capes, darling. No. Every Nihil was expected to contribute to the organization as growth, either by making the Nihil stronger or richer. In order to ensure the remained strong, those deemed weak were forcibly removed from its ranks by being killed. Most Nihil were also desperate to establish a connection to the Eye or the Tempest runners by trying to advance through the ranks. Yeah, so they don't die. The bizarre and imitating tactics used by the Nihil included chemical weapons and poison. Indeed, chemical weapons became a commonly deployed weapon by the pirates. One of the gas attacks the marauders employed was firing white canisters of blue-gray gas, thick and dense like a storm cloud. The war cloud gas was lethal and instantly filled in the air with a poison that made breathing feel like fire.
Now, they would use this gas mainly in ships because it was such a confined space, but they did deploy a mass war cloud during the Republic Fair.
Yes.
And a very impressive feat by the Jedi was essentially moving the war cloud out into the middle of a lake that was nearby.
Yep. And then the Nihil allowed independent droids to join their ranks, but also made use of the droids in their operations. Within the Grey Hall, sentry droids were used in the guards, standing over 2 meters tall. The droids displayed loyalty to the Eye and the Tempest Runners. Instead of a standard face design, the 3 lightning bolt symbol of the Nihil, colored in a light blue, was placed upon their faceplates. Having bodies filled with the spikes and fists strong enough to smash bones or tissue, the droids did not need to wield weaponry.
Yeah, because they were weapons.
Yes, they were literal walking weapons.
Beep boop bop.
But
damn clinkers.
Yes. Damn clankers. But yeah, that is part 1 of the Nihil.
How many parts do we have?
We have 3.
Okay. Wow, this is gonna go in depth.
Well, yeah, because thanks to all the comics, all the books, a bunch of info. There's so much more detail. There's so much detail in the Nihil because they went super in depth with them, and they also appear in later stuff beyond the High Republic, which we'll get into part 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go play Star Wars Jedi Survivor because they are mentioned in Jedi Survivor, which is really cool.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. They attack whatever the place that Cal's trying to get to.
Oh, right, in flashbacks. That's right.
Yeah. You see them in flashbacks, and you the High Republic droid mentions them as well as journal entries and stuff.
Yeah, and the Frozen Jedi, I guess. I don't know.
Dagon, yeah.
The High Republic Jedi.
Dagon, he doesn't mention them by name, but he essentially references them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, well, everybody, thank you again for listening to Holocron Histories, and may the Force be with you.
Holocron History, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Ben and Friends podcasting Discord, where you can share your thoughts, experiences, and love for the Star Wars lore. And don't forget, for the Republic.